Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater. And now we're going to talk about it in Matt Time to Pilot right after the movie, giving our gut reactions. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you wait for streaming? Do you have to see it in theaters? Should you bring your family or a date or kids or no one? Do you need to pay attention all the time or can you slack off? We're going to try to touch on some of that, all of that, none of that, some of it. You know, we're all over the place, but we love you. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I love you too. So
I said we, Matt. We love you.
I heard it.
Well, yes. I just wanted to make it explicitly clear that I also am part of the we.
Yeah.
Anyway, we saw a movie. This movie is called Companion, and we are going to talk about all the things about Companion without spoiling anything. Maybe we'll try. We'll do our best. Tim, is there anyone in this we should know?
I would say there's some up-and-coming actors in this, not household names yet, but on their way. Our lead is Sophie Thatcher, who we just saw recently in Heretic as one of the girls dealing with Hugh Grant. She's apparently also on a show called Yellow Jackets, but I have not watched that. And then Jack Quaid is our lead guy in this. He is the son of Dennis Quaid, the famous actor, and he's mostly known for The Boys, which is the Amazon superhero show. He's also the voice of Superman on the new Adventures of Superman cartoon on Max.
There you have it. So, what is Companion all about?
Now, before we go into this,
Yes.
I wanted to say, okay, we know from the trailers
Yes.
that she is a companion. So
Correct.
that you can explain
I think we
that
can explain
and
it.
talk about that. That is divulged in the trailer.
Yes, I was going to go down that hole
Okay.
a little bit.
I didn't know how many trailers you had seen.
I've
this
seen
one
the
was
one.
specifically
Yeah, the second
points
trailer,
out
yes.
a pretty big twist, I thought, which was like, okay, if you went into the movie not knowing that,
It would've been even-
it
yeah.
might have enhanced the experience.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
So, we're going to spoil you as much as that trailer did.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is to say that this movie is about a companion robot to our male lead. The female lead is a...
And we know a mustached man gets stabbed in the neck, which really bothered me about the trailer.
Yeah.
That is in the trailer. And you're like, you are showing a kill in the
Yes.
trailer. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, so this guy has a companion robot, emotional support robot,
As you described
sex
it.
robot, whatever you want to
F-bots
think-
was the
yes.
slang name.
Mm-hmm.
Except replace F with the real word.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically this guy lives with the robot and as a partner,
Which is a common thing.
which is a
From
common
what
thing
they paint in this world.
that we
Seems a
live in.
little advanced from where we are.
Yeah.
Self-driving cars.
Yeah, lots of self-driving cars. All cars
Like
maybe
a
are
not too distant
self-driving.
future kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
setting.
So this guy with his robot show up, and the first part of the movie, it's not clear that she's a robot. We know she's a robot because we watched the trailer,
There's some
and you
clever
know that
writing
because I
and-
just told you.
yeah.
So, but
We're all going in on an equal playing field
That's right.
of
That's
trying
right.
to enjoy this movie.
Also gives it away.
So, so they show up kind of for a weekend getaway. There's another couple there. There's two other couples there, and through a series of events, let's just say people start getting killed, and the companion robot has settings adjusted to allow her to override certain settings about self-control and aggression and all these things. And so it turns into a, how are we going to get out of this situation?
Yes.
What are we going to cover up? There's been a murder here, and things escalate from there. It's one of these things
Unraveling.
that kind of unravels. A plot is revealed, and things just go south from there with a lot of killing. There's a lot of interesting kind of dynamics between we'll say generally in this movie between robots and humans,
Yeah.
and how autonomous they can be. But so the movie takes place all in this little house in the woods, and everyone ends up getting what they deserve, I think. So
Super secluded house.
yes,
12 miles from a road. Or
17.
17, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
nearest
man, you
house.
guys are oddly specific when you're explaining that out.
Yes.
Yep.
So, without getting really into the twists and turns, that's about what I'll say. Is there's robots and humans in conflict, and we get to watch what happens. So, Todd, what are your thoughts, your gut reaction to the movie Companion?
Well, I wanted to see this movie. I was excited for it. It's been getting some really great buzz. And I'll generalize and say that I think I enjoyed this movie, but it certainly has its faults, in my humble opinion. Not many, but I would say the biggest distractor was probably about halfway through the movie. I was kind of like, I got to the point where I was like, how more ridiculous can this get before I start to stop believe that anyone can get away with anything anymore. Like, like at some point you cross the threshold of this being a suspenseful thriller into being like, how am I going to wrap this up? Because you're really letting this thing fly. And it's not tight enough to bring it back to a solid ending, I thought. I didn't think the ending was bad by far. But I didn't think, kind of like, once all the twisty turns are kind of almost out there, I would say probably about midway through the movie, I would say most of them are pretty much out there, the story stops being tight and good, I thought. Like, it just kind of was like, it kind of got lost in how we're going to wrap all this up, because people keep dying. Like, and so it got a little like, for something I thought started really good and I felt was kind of tight, and I was like, okay, well, your twisty turns that you're throwing here are pretty good. Some of them I saw, some of them I was like, okay, interesting. Like, I like where this is going. But it's almost like there just was no exit strategy. And I felt that hindered it for me. Like, once we get about halfway to 3/4 through, it almost felt like we're bumbling around in the dark. How are we going to wrap this up? And they did wrap it up. And it's wrapped up in, I would say, a somewhat satisfying way. I don't feel like cheated, but I just don't feel like it wasn't the greatest story all said and done. I thought the acting was fine. I thought the two main characters were the best. Everyone else just played their parts.
Win for it.
I wouldn't say, I don't think anyone's going to win anything from this movie, and I wouldn't argue it should be nominated for anything, but, no huge distractors of like, one person's performance is way out there, and you're like, hey, what movie were you doing? Because everyone else was doing this movie. And I would say, if you saw the trailer of this movie, or if you're a moviegoer and you like little oddball movies that are, kind of suspenseful, maybe a little kind of, I guess, I don't know, it's supposed to be thriller, but maybe on the horror side a little, but not too horror-y. This is a fine movie. I don't regret seeing this movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I would support this movie. I'd support seeing it in the theaters if you want to see a movie. I wouldn't say everyone who's listening to this podcast, I'm saying you need to get out and see this movie. Like, no matter what your plans this weekend, go see this movie. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if a movie's in your future, this is a darn fine movie for you to see. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me. I mean, I like I said, I don't regret seeing this movie. I'm a little disappointed because I couldn't land the plane, I thought, in a tight, good way. They did land it, and everyone walked away safe, which is kind of what you always want from a landing/ending. But, it could have not been as bumpy on the way down. That's going to be me. Tim?
Yeah, I also, like you, saw the first couple trailers for this and thought, ooh, that's fun. That looks like an interesting concept. And I believe that it really delivered on what it was trying to do. I really dug this movie. I thought the acting was really good for what it was trying to do. I like that it started as a kind of a slow, suspenseful. You're not sure quite what's going on at first. And then, like you said, when the volume turns up pretty early, you're like, whoa, okay, this movie just changed. And then, like you said, it kind of almost goes off the rails too, but I enjoyed that. I thought we're already in kind of a weird world as it was, and then it just kept piling on with almost kind of a dark humor to it. And I appreciated that approach. I thought it kind of added to the world we were in, and I thought it was a lot of fun. There was some, like I said, dark humor. There was also some, suspense and some real actual, like, suspense and thrills involved in there. And, obviously a big allegory on control and, women being controlled by men and how they stand up to them and, what can you really do. I thought, that was clearly not subtle, but it was, they had fun with that idea. And I don't know, I just, I thought everybody played their parts right. I think Jack Quaid especially, I thought, was able to add nuance to his, character as the movie goes on, because he kind of had to go through some changes.
Yeah, his character obviously has the most range.
Yes, and I thought he nailed all the parts of it in a way that was believable, that his character would get there. And I thought also Sophie Thatcher did a great job as a robot, not quite understanding what's going on and trying to figure out her world and how it works. And I thought that, that can be interesting. And she didn't do it in a robotic way, if that makes sense. Like, I thought she did it in a very human way, and that really made it work. I do agree with you, Todd. I think almost going into this movie blind might make it even better, because watching the first, say, 15 minutes and not knowing what was going on would have made the reveal that the trailers gave away even more good. Because I thought, knowing it like we did with the trailers, there were some lines, there were a couple word choices, and, shots that were definitely meant to clue you in if you didn't know. And I appreciated those as okay movie. And I think, it would have been more of a, ooh, if you didn't know. So I'm not saying it ruins it, but I'm just saying it would have enhanced, like you said, the experience had it all been new to you. So, but either way, but I think a good movie that has a reveal like that and still works, even if you know a little bit going in, and that's what this is. So I thought this was really good, and I recommend seeing it, even if you may not see a movie like this normally. I just think the acting is good and the allegory they're trying to tell. And I thought it's different enough. Like, we like to support the movies that are a little more out there and more, not your mainstream franchises and all that. And I think this is another good one. I really enjoyed it. Matt?
Yeah, same thing. This was right up my alley. I appreciate movies with a little bit of death in them. When you have some nice gory kills, that's fun for me.
Yeah, it kind of had a lot of different genres, and that's hard to do.
Yes, and additionally, we had sort of a little bit of world building. We had this different world than we live in, which appeals to me, and we've got some advanced technology that's going to be really appealing to me too. So you sort of spin all these around in the salad spinner for me, and I come out with a movie that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Todd. I thought the end was a little bit jerky to conclude this film, but the beginning was so tight and so interesting to really draw you in and keep you hooked the whole time. I really enjoyed watching this. Yes, I agree. It's not going to be an award-winning film, but it is an interesting movie. And if you're looking for a different story, one that hasn't maybe been told, at least not in this way, I think you owe it to yourself to check this out. So I liked it a lot.
It had a lot of practical effects, which
yes,
I like.
Yes, I think that helped a lot too. Yeah.
So, getting down to the old nitty gritty here. How many, let's say, how many cork openers, how many corkscrew openers, automatic corkscrew openers, there we go.
There you go.
What'd you give this movie? Obviously, 0 being the worst because then you have none. And if you have
Yep.
wine, how are you going to open it besides shattering the bottle and just lapping up whatever you can? 5 being the best because then you got 5. And if you have multiple bottles of wine, it could be a race, whatever. So,
It could be a race.
Matt?
Well, as I said, really enjoyed this. I think it was a well-made movie. I'm going to go with a 3.6 automatic wine corkscrew opener devices out of 5. And I say see it.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah, I was up in the high 3s as well, but I'm even higher than you, Matt. Like I said, I was riveted the whole time, and even the wild twists and turns that Todd mentioned as it got almost a little too crazy. It didn't get too crazy for me. I thought I was right there with it, and so it worked for me, and I'm at a 3.8.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit below you guys, but not far. I still enjoyed this movie. I wish it was a little bit tighter, but, it did what it was setting out to do, I feel. I'm at like a 3.1. I enjoyed it. I wish, like I said, a little tighter, maybe a little bit more thought out near the end. But, a lot of good stuff. Can't really fault it. I wasn't checking my watch or anything like that to be like, hey, when is this wrapping up?
And it's not that long a movie.
Yeah, and I thought it's not. And I thought we would get out in time for me to get a refill of my soda. But Regal is shutting down the concessions at what, like 8 o'clock or something? Gosh, give me my refill. I paid for the drink.
Whoa.
Well, okay. Yes. Good.
Dial your settings down a little bit, Tom.
Don't touch my soda.
So, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I think we're good.
No,
Okay.
but
But
this movie did really hammer home the automatic corkscrew opener.
yes,
Yes.
it did.
Yes. Which is a great device.
It comes into play, but
I thought
around
it
the
was I
third
thought
time
it
they
was-
were opening a bottle of wine and focusing on it, I was like, where's this going?
I thought that was a perfect payoff. But yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed the movie Companion. We gave it a quite good rating of 3.5 automatic bottle cork screw wine openers out of 5. And that's a good score. In fact, it's our best score
2025.
since, well, yes, there haven't been many movies,
I
There's
know.
only been, what, 2 or 3?
I know.
but our best score since the movie Heretic, which
Which
has
also has
one of the
Miss Sophie
same,
Thatcher.
yes.
She was the one. Which one was she? Of those
She was the
two?
short-haired one.
Yeah.
The more rebel one.
Got it.
So anyway, yeah, we say go see this movie, and we think you'll like it. And yeah, thanks for listening to our podcast. Please continue to download and subscribe and listen as much as you can to all episodes that we have released. All 200 and however many it is now. It's a lot. But
worth it.
We're still waiting on iHeartRadio or something to pick us up.
Yeah.
We'll give you our entire catalog
Yeah.
Yes. For a price.
for a price,
Yes.
but it's not that
Our
much.
souls.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.
Da da da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.